We are in the Sukkah. You with me?
Rabbi Benji Goldschmidt, we welcome you to our Sukkah hop. It's so wonderful to have you on board.
It's great to be here. How you doing?
We're doing fantastically well. I'm here in my Sukkah in Beverly Hills. You're there in your Sukkah in New York. I understand that New York has got a little bit of a stricter lockdown than we have here in California. Tell us a little bit about that and how it's affected your Sukkahs.
Listen, you could look at the distancing between the different tables we have over here. We're limited. We used to have in each Sukkah a couple hundred people join in a usual year. Now we're limited to 30, 40 people using it at a time, which obviously limits the amount of people who could come. Usually we have catered dinners with great food. Now everyone has to bring their food from home.
The fact is that this year's Sukkot is very strange. That's why, of course, we're doing this online, live stream Sukkah hop. But how have Minyanim been? How have generally? How was your holidays? How have the festivals been at Park East Synagogue and on the Upper East Side of Manhattan?
So listen, we have three types of services. We had indoors in person, we had outdoors in person, and we had virtual services. So for example, we had an online Kol Nidre program, we had an online Yizkor service, we had an online, we tried to get at the end of Yom Kippur, the last Tkiya Shofar, after Yom Kippur was over, for people who were davening at home to get a feel of the last Kaddish and Avdallah from Shul. And then we had, for example, an outdoor Yizkor service, outdoor shofar blowings, but the actual davenings were in our main sanctuary that usually could hold over 1,000 people inside. This year we were maxed out at 150 people for our main sanctuary.
Now, we didn't manage to get your father on from Moscow, and of course that's where we first met when you were a little kid, and I was the assistant rabbi in Arkhipova Street in Moscow. Tell me what's going on in Russia. I understand that there's oligarchs there already taking the vaccine. What's the Sukkah situation in Moscow?
The Sukkah situation in Moscow, there are many Sukkot. I think the Sukkah in the Choral Synagogue, there are 9 different Sukkahs that were built. So many different compartments. Yes, people, Moscow is, Russia has a very sad statistic that is helping it out. The life expectancy of the Russian male, the majority of victims of COVID-19 are elderly males.
Right.
The average expectancy of a Russian-speaking person outside of Moscow is, is not too high. I think it's in the 60s. So again, sadly,
they don't reach the level. They don't reach the age where comorbidities come into play, is what you're saying.
Correct. But just before the holidays, my mother was instructed by the mayor that any teachers older than 65 have to remain home, cannot come and teach a person. So they're trying to restrict the elderly, of which sadly they do not have too many of, and allow more free, commerce and activity for younger people.
If you recall, we had some remarkable events in Moscow, many thousands of people attending for the Yom Tovim, for Purim, and for the other events that we organized in the early 90s. And if I do remember, the average age, generally speaking, on Shabbos was quite old at that stage. So things have clearly changed over the years.
That has changed completely. And Rabbi Penny Dunner, will you allow me to address your flock at this moment?
Of course.
So, dear young Israel of North Beverly Hills, you are one lucky community. I'll tell you why. As a child, so now I'm an assistant rabbi, and Rabbi Penny Dunner used to be my father's assistant rabbi. He was the coolest person I've ever met as a kid. I remember him singing a song called Baruch HaGever with the guitar, with the hair he has in his chin was on his head, which made him look very cool and very hip. And I remember his image singing in the Moscow Choral Synagogue. I just thought he was the coolest person ever. And you really got a brilliant, inspiring, intelligent rabbi, which is not easy. It's not easy to have. So Rabbi Penny, I hope you're appreciated for all your amazing talents.
Thank you so much. And it's really a pleasure to speak to you at Park East Synagogue.